So good morning, everyone. It's the beginning of November. We've got 2 months left of the year, and then it's 2021. And it's a big time all round for a lot of people, isn't it? So I wanted to touch upon today a subject that really has intrigued me. I had last week, as you know, I was absent from our call because I had an interview, um, a podcast interview with the Chicago Booth Business School. Which was a fantastic experience. And as soon as that goes live on the Chicago Booth website, I'll be sure to share the link so that everyone can have access to that. It was a great privilege to be interviewed by one of the top business schools in the country. But they raised an interesting subject. The reason for the interview was revolving around the book that I had published. And one of the questions that came up was really interesting. At the beginning of the book, for those of you that haven't read it, I talk about a friend of mine who broke his back. He fell down a flight of stairs. He'd been a very independent man in his early years. He'd done 2 tours of the Falklands as a soldier. Had definitely had some very gritty experience there. Had come back from that experience, fell down some metal-made stairs and broke his back. He had some surgery afterwards to help fuse parts of his spine together to improve the condition of his spine. And he said the surgery made things worse, not better. When I got to know him, when we became friends, I would suggest that he was probably in his 50s. He was silver-haired. And he had lived with pain every day of his life since that surgery, every day. And I asked him as we spoke, I said, "Are you feeling pain now?" He's, "Yes." It was nerve pain. I said, "Tell me about it." He says, "It feels like my feet are on fire and the fire is just going up my body." And he would engage on occasion when it would get really bad, when medication couldn't help and it was not enough. He would engage techniques that he learned as a soldier, that he was taught, should he get captured, to get himself into the zone where he would be able to resist any torture or what have you that may befall him. It was insane, and he would use these techniques. But I share this because he said to me, "Ben, breaking my back was the second best thing that ever happened to me. The first thing being meeting and marrying my wife. The next best thing after that was breaking my back." That blows my mind. Now, I knew the reason why he was saying this, but I, of course, asked to get his perspective. And he said, the chronic pain that I've experienced has necessitated significant change in me. I would not be who I am now if it wasn't for this. You know, the lessons that it has taught me in order to cope, to manage, and to prosper through it, he said, has transformed me from the bratty kid I was into something very different now. And I wouldn't trade that for anything. It's interesting, that, isn't it? Powerful, powerful. But anyway, I share that experience in the book. And one of the questions that came through in the interview, I wanted to address here today because I just thought this is just so relevant, so important. Someone said, "Well, how do we know that the second best thing mindset isn't just more than a mind game?" How is it not just more than a mind game? You know, a positive mental attitude to confront and deal with difficult things, when in reality, it just sucks, right? And I thought, what a profound and confrontational question that is. So I want to answer that question today. What is the second best thing in your life? Yeah, metaphorically speaking, that you go, I wouldn't trade. And how do we apply this in our business? Because as entrepreneurs, this principle that I'm about to share is essential in order for us to prosper and to succeed. And so the answer is found in this. First of all, it is not a mind game, although having said that, all victories are first won in the mind before they're won anywhere else, aren't they? So if we break those two that statement down, that phrase, mind game, first of all, there is potency in it and misunderstanding in the connotations of a mind game, like a trick we're playing on ourselves. All victories that we win in life are first won in the mind. So first of all, we've got to recognize that the most powerful tool we have is our mind. So let's give that some recognition that it deserves, that is important. The second thing is define game. Any great athlete, any Olympic champion, if you were to go to them and say, define to me the rules of your game, it's nothing more than that, oh, they would give a very different perspective, wouldn't they? And in fact, I remember there's an English football coach, I think it was George Best, who said, football isn't a matter of life and death. It's far more important than that. So really, in the minds of any great athlete, someone that really takes it seriously, a game is something far more important than a playground game. This is something different. But nonetheless, we move on into a deeper space of what this really involves. Psychologists refer to this, what my friend was doing, as demonstrating mental toughness. That's a phrase, not just that we like the sound of or that we are familiar with. They've actually defined it, they've made it specific, they've made it measurable, and they've made it something that we can concretely build. And it revolves around 5 specific themes. The first of these is positive thinking. So yes, a positive attitude certainly plays a part. The second part, the second theme, is anxiety control. Notice that I don't say anxiety elimination. Our goal is not to eliminate anxiety. It's to control it. It's interesting that, isn't it? I have found when I get stressed or anxious or fretful about something in my business or in my life, and I try to eliminate the stress, I can actually make it worse. You found that? And that's because our task is not to eliminate it, it's to respond healthily to it and manage it. Our goal is to control it. The third one is visualization. In a business context, that is simply, if we abbreviate that word, visualize, it's to have a vision. It's to have a vision, looking forward. So I'll talk about that in just a minute. The fourth is goal setting. We talk a lot about that. And the fifth one is attentional control, keeping our mind focused on our priorities, the things that matter most. So again, positive thinking, anxiety control, visualization, goal setting, and attentional control. So what is the difference here? What are we talking about in applying ourselves to these 5 areas? Well, let's look at it in this context. And I'll use 2020 as a great example for how people have responded to a sense of chronic adversity that they've experienced this year, because a lot have. I was speaking to a friend of mine the other day who's a psychiatrist, and she said their industry is suddenly overwhelmed this year with first-time clients reaching out to them, therapists, again, first-time clients reaching out to the point that it's almost impossible to get appointments if you're a new client, because people are getting overwhelmed, they're getting stressed. 2020 has been too much for many people. Why is that? Well, the challenge is, for many, they're not applying themselves to mental toughness. They are striving to be resilient. Resilient helps you to survive. Their goal is to simply get through the year, or to get through the moment, to make it pass and get out on the other side. That's what resilience is about. Mental toughness is about helping you to prosper. There's a difference there, isn't there? Resilience helps you to survive. Mental toughness helps you to prosper. So there is a professor of the Manchester Metropolitan University who defined the 4 C's to developing mental toughness. And he said they are control, commitment, challenge, and confidence. I'll say them again: control, commitment, challenge, and confidence. When we apply ourselves to control and commitment, we seek to control the events in our lives, we have a firm resolve and commitment to it, then we demonstrate resilience. When we possess those attributes, but also accept and embrace the challenge, the willingness to adapt and to diversify or to change our behavior according to our circumstances, to think outside the box, to behave differently because difference is demanded of us, and then to have confidence in our own skills and abilities to get the job done and to do it well. When we have that, then we have mental toughness and we prosper. The first two help us to survive, control and commitment. Challenge and confidence is what helps us to prosper. But we need all four. This is what he said in the research that he did. This professor identified that whilst all four individually are good and helpful and beneficial to us, we need all four of those qualities in order to develop mental toughness and to prosper. Now, what does this have to do with building a business? Well, I want you to look back over your time in Nikan. Has it demanded mental toughness of you? 100%, yeah? In fact, if you look at our mission of helping humans to become more, doesn't that progressive journey of becoming demand not just resilience, but personal transformation that requires some mental toughness? Isn't the business model itself a vehicle for us to apply these principles and qualities so that we can become more and make a difference and transform? What I believe is the benefit that Nikan offers is the framework that it has. We have our products that provide people an opportunity to improve their health and their environment, their immediate environment, and their wellness home. That I think is a great benefit of Nikan. The business opportunity provides a framework and a model that as we apply ourselves to it, especially by recognizing the need for mental toughness, that we can use that as a vehicle to be transformed as a human being and become more. Because it requires us to sacrifice, it requires us to get outside of our comfort zone, it requires us to learn more, it requires us to develop new skills, it requires us to keep trying when other people might want to quit and give up. It demands a lot, doesn't it? It requires vision. It requires positive thinking. It's going to create a little bit of anxiety at the end of the month or at the end of a calendar year if we're running for an incentive. It's going to demand of us that we develop vision for ourselves, for our lives, for our business. And it's going to require our focus and attention. All of those 5 themes are demanded of us if we want to thrive and survive and prosper in our Nikan business. So I want to look at some of these 5 themes. Well, before I do that, let's just carry on this thought just a little further, because I want to apply this right now to, first of all, how do we help new people apply this principle and understand it? And then I want to go into these 5 themes a little bit deeper for some of the ways that we can practice and apply it ourselves in our business. So first of all, if we have new people, and if there are new people watching this recording or are participating on this call today, I want to share 3 ways that you can apply yourself to mental toughness with your business, with your new business. And these 3 things are simple to write down, for me to articulate, but boy, it's going to require some practice. And I want you to know, as I share this, one thing I am not a fan of is this pop culture trend of you can have it all and you can have it in a moment. Yeah, that breeds anxiety, that breeds intense dissatisfaction. It breeds early retirement from goal setting and goal achievement. Early retirement, of course, being quitting, yeah, when we should be moving on, because people have false expectations. So I want to manage expectations. Life is a journey. We've got our whole lives to become more. And the more we become, the more our vision is elevated and we realize there is more to achieve. So it just keeps on growing and expanding. And that's the beauty of life. And it's also the beauty of our business. It is an ever growing and ever expanding opportunity to become more, to contribute, and to move forwards. So if you're new, whilst the opportunity to become more and to achieve more is attractive, I want you to understand this is a journey, and we want you to have a solid foundation upon which you build your business. And that foundation begins, first of all, here, and then rolls out into your activity. So the first thing that we do, if we want to develop mental toughness as an entrepreneur, and all great successful entrepreneurs have this virtue of mental toughness, replace your negative thoughts with positive, more realistic ones. Step number one, replace your negative thoughts with positive, more realistic ones. That will require of us, of course, some mindfulness of what our thoughts are. I've often said, if thought is father to the deed, then feelings are mother to the thought, because literally the emotional pathways in our brain, they are shorter than the cognitive ones. So we instinctively, we will feel faster than we think. We've all experienced that, haven't we? Where an experience happens to us and we feel a response quicker than we think it. And we go, oh, someone might come up behind you and shock you. You might hear a noise coming from outside your room, and you immediately feel before you go, oh, no, it's nothing, right? That's because the pathways in our brain to our emotional centers are literally shorter. So we've got to be aware of our thoughts. And the second step is we need to control our emotions. We need to be in control of them versus let them control us. So this does require some mindfulness. First, again, replace negative thoughts with positive ones, more realistic ones. And second, make sure that we control our emotions versus let them control us. Again, like I said, mindfulness is required for both of them. The third one, take positive action. Action fuels inspiration more than study and learning does, doesn't it? Yeah, so we can be great students of the compensation plan, great students of the product. We can be on every conference call possible to learn and educate. But if we don't take action, we're not going to develop the mental toughness that we need in order to build our business, because that's where the real conflict happens, isn't it? That's where we test our mettle, so to speak. It's not in the learning, it's not in the thinking and feeling, it's in the doing. So we need to manage our thoughts, we need to manage our feelings, and then most definitely we take action so that we can get really confrontational with understanding, how badly do I want what I want? Am I willing to pay the price? Am I really committed? Am I serious about this? Yeah, that's where these questions really get tested, and we discover the true strength. Am I just going to be a quick starter and then give up? Or am I going to see this through to the end and get the job done? We only discover that in the doing. So let's jump into these 5 themes a little bit. I'm not going to have time to go through all 5. I want to touch on just a couple, and they kind of interweave. And that is the visualization and the anxiety control. Because I want to combine these two a little bit, because I recognize that being an entrepreneur is fun and exhilarating, and it's rewarding in ways that we didn't anticipate. It's rewarding, but it is also something that can be challenging as well. So how do we manage the challenge, since we're talking about mental toughness? Well, this is where that virtue of patience comes in. Well, one thing that I've often struggled with, if I'm feeling impatient with the results in my business, right, is people saying, oh, hang in there, it'll happen. It'll happen. I've been waiting for 5 years, right? It'll happen. Are you kidding me? I've been trying for so long. It's not working right now. And I get a little bit anxious, a little bit stressed about that. I've got my vision, but it isn't coming to fruition right now in spite of my best efforts. So how do I respond to that? How do I apply my mental toughness to a situation like that? This is where that virtue of patience comes in. But simply saying to yourself, be patient, is not enough, because telling yourself something doesn't make it so. There are certain steps to apply and to practice to make that work. If we need to be more patient so that we can complete our task, achieve our goals, and keep ourselves focused, because they all kind of intertwine here, don't they? They all mesh together at this critical juncture. How do I do that? How do I have my positive thinking? How do I not get so anxious? How do I have a clear vision of where I'm going and stay true to my goals and keep my focus centered? It all comes to that one point. Well, the critical thing is research has proven, and I love this, research has proven that if we engage our imagination with our application of patience, we have a greater capacity to be patient well. Greater and above and beyond simply applying willpower. If I'm simply trying to apply my willpower, to grin and bear it, to grit my teeth, or to white knuckle my journey, where I'm struggling to get my goals achieved, I'll go, okay, just hang in there. Oh, I'm finding it tough. If I'm doing that, here's the problem. First of all, my capacity is compromised a little bit because I'm relying exclusively on my willpower. That's my primary tool. The other reason it's compromised is when I'm focusing on my willpower, what is happening is I'm applying myself to my immediate vicinity. It's the immediate sense of pain or challenge or adversity that I'm experiencing that causes me a problem. So I focus on what? The pain, right? And so if I'm focused exclusively on the pain, then my patience is compromised and my willpower will only take me so far. If I engage my imagination, I'm taking myself out of the present moment into a future, more prosperous state of being. Because my imagination is saying, as I get through the other side of this challenge, something better lies ahead. And this is going to be good. It's a better state. My ad campaign is going to work. I'm going to get these better results. I've got these groups that I'm working with, and I'm going to get some more leads here, or I've got some people that I'm following up with. Those results are going to come, right? As I project into a future state and apply my vision for that, it takes me out of the immediate vicinity of pain into a more prosperous and happy state of being. That's not quite enough though. The other thing we need to do is to segment and break it down into sequences, that future state, so that I work back by degrees to the present moment. So if I can break it down into stepping stones that will take me to a desired, preferred future state and engage my vision when I'm dealing with something that is anxious or fretful, then my capacity to endure is increased. So above and beyond simply having great willpower and being a man or woman of great commitment, because you've engaged your imagination as well and broken it down into steps that you can apply to get there, and kind of sequenced, it's not just going to be that I become a diamond or that I achieve a certain financial milestone, but you break it down into other visual steps as well that look promising and optimistic and positive and realistic. Break those steps down that are exciting and achievable, and you can go after them. As you do that, you're not just relying on willpower, you're relying on something more. And that vision that you have, combined with your willpower, will increase your capacity to endure whatever you're facing. And not only that, you'll endure it better. It'll be more rewarding and more pleasurable. Isn't that great? Isn't that reassuring? Yeah. So as we come to the end of the call today, I want to ask you, what's the second best thing in your life right now, in your business, that you wouldn't trade for anything, that's shaping you into who you are? Often it is, isn't it, the challenges that we experience that shape us into that human being more. Yeah. So if you are experiencing some adversity in your business, that's okay. It's a part of being an entrepreneur. And as we can see, there are ways not just through it so that you are resilient and you get it to the other side, like so many people in 2020, and they go, I just want to survive. When we apply our mental toughness to whatever challenges we face in our entrepreneurial endeavors in NICAN, we won't just be resilient and get through the other side and survive. We will prosper, we will thrive, we will flourish, and we will be better for it, we will be stronger for it, and we will be glad of the experience as a consequence. And as a result, we wouldn't trade it for anything. And then what happens? You then reach out to others and you help them to do the same. This is the great aspect of duplication that we all love in this business. The chance that we get to reach out to others and help them experience a better way of being. That's the greatest product of all in NICAN. We've got a great product line, a wellness home that really is transformative. And certainly with what we've experienced, especially in California, recently we've had wildfires not too far from where I've lived this past week. The wellness home has been a blessing. But at the heart of every home is the people. And so the greatest product that NICAN has to offer is the opportunity for all of us to become more. And what does that more look like? It's the best version of ourselves. It's not someone else. We're not duplicating someone else's personality. We duplicate the right behaviors for our business, but the objective is for us to become the best version of us. And doing that will be what will help us feel more on point with our purpose and our mission in life, our reason for being in NICAN, than anything else. So let's dig in. When the going gets tough, what do? We get stronger. That's what we do. So thank you very much for being with us on the call today. I hope this has been helpful, instructive. I hope it's been supportive. If any of you are going through some struggles in your business, then I certainly hope that we can apply some of these principles of being mentally tough and not just survive, but really prosper, because you all deserve it. And I love you loads, and I'm grateful to be able to work with you and to support you in your endeavors of becoming more. So thank you all very much, and we'll speak to you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Ben. Much love to you.
Thank you, Ben.